Hi, first grade. We're wrapping up our week of read alouds about kindness and friendship with the story Mr. George Baker. The author's name is Amy Hest, and the illustrator is John J. Muth. Do you think you can be friends with someone who is a lot older than you? Why or why not? Turn and talk with someone at home about friends or family members who are older or younger than you. This book is called Mr. George Baker. George and Harry are good friends. What do you notice about them? Let's find out why they are friends. See this man? This one here, sitting on the porch. That's Mr. George Baker, and he's 100 years old. No kidding. Hurry up, Harry. Mr. Harry in charge. That's George, all snappy and happy in the morning. He always calls, "Hurry up, Harry," when I'm crossing lawns, his and mine, and he's always there first, waiting on the porch. Who is George Baker waiting for and waving at? Let's wave hello to each other. See his pants, all baggy, baggy, baggy? What holds them up? Suspenders. Brown baggy pants with 2 side pockets and 2 in back. There's candy in those pockets. Little chocolate candies in twisty silver wrappers. George pops one in his mouth, and I do too. We wait on the porch and chew. I like his crumpled hat and his long, stretchy legs. His shoes are crumpled too, with long shoelaces. Mine always come undone in the morning. Let's have a look, says George, making 2 double knots that never come undone, not ever. See this man, this one here, zipping up his book bag? His book bag is red like mine, and there's a book inside. But George can't read. 100 years old, and he never learned how. That must be corrected, says George. Are you surprised by George's age? George does not know how to read, but he has a book in his book bag. What are you wondering? I really like his sweater, all hangy with 3 buttons. It's chilly in the morning, and we both hug our knees and wait. We wait, watching leaves blow off trees. They fly for a while, they float, they tumble for a while, they swoop. Now the screen door creaks, and you know who teeters out? Mrs. Baker. And some people say she's 90. Well, here you are, Harry, looking after my George. Mrs. Baker puts a sack on the step beside George, and there's lunch in the sack for later. For the man I love, says Mrs. Baker. Why, Mrs. B, you flatter me. George gets up all crookedly and slow, and the next thing you know, they're dancing. Then Mrs. Baker gives a wave and a wink. Goodbye, she says. Be good, she says, and goes back in the house with the purple shutters. Talk about how Mr. George Baker and his wife feel about each other. How do you know? George Baker and me, George Baker and I, we sit on the step and wait. Side by side, we wait. Turn and tell someone at home what you think Harry and Mr. George Baker are waiting for. The illustrator shows George and Harry as though you are standing behind them. Where have you seen this picture before? That's right, it is on the cover, so it must be important. See these crooked fingers going tappity on his knees? They fly across his knees. Tappity boom, tappity boom, tappity boom, boom, tap. George Baker is a drummer man, and some people say he's famous. Sometimes he drums on his porch at night, and the neighbors come by. Up the road and down the road, they come to hear my drummer man. Shh! Listen. George gets up, real slow. I take his hand and he takes mine, and we shuffle down the walk to the big school bus. "Mornin'," says the driver. "We've been waitin'," answers George. There are 22 kids on the bus, plus 4 grown-ups on the bus. They all want George. "Over here," they cry. "Sit here," they say. But George sits with me each and every day. See this man? This one in room 7? That's Mr. George Baker, and he's 100 years old. No kiddin'. He's learning to read with the grown-ups in room 7, and my room is right down the hall. I'm learning too, and it's hard. Did you think Carrie and George were going to school together? Why or why not? "We can do it," says George after school. Our books are green, and his lips sound out the letters, real slow, but his fingers fly across his knee like a big old drum. Tappity boom, tappity boom, tappity boom, boom, tap. Just a little reminder that if you're practicing your reading at home and you're thinking it's hard, you can do it, and all your teachers are proud of you for trying at home. We hope you enjoyed this week of Read Alouds about kindness and friendship. And next week on spring break, hopefully you can spread some kindness and some friendship wherever you may be going and whatever you may be doing. Thanks for listening.